your prediction for the fight then?
Prediction?
Yes, prediction.
Pain.
The main thing to know is that the Child Support Agency is not part of family court and is a separate agency that
the people from whom government gets all of its powers retain important checks on government.
I'm Judge Glenn Grant, Administrative Director of the courts.
I object. You
That's
are
fine,
not
sir.
a judge. You are an executive administrator.
Okay.
The U.S. Supreme Court ruled there are no judicial courts in America. There have not been since 1789. Judges do not enforce statutes and codes. Executive administrators enforce statutes and codes.
We're taking a look at Child Support Hearing Officer Program.
the main thing to know is that the Child Support Agency is not part of family court and is a separate agency that
New Jersey Supreme Court in the mid-1980s created the Child Support Hearing Officer Program to help judges hear child support cases.
Using guidelines established by the New Jersey Supreme Court.
Article 3 establishes the judicial branch, or federal court system. These courts will try all cases that arise under the Constitution. The judicial branch has no lawmaking or enforcement power.
The 432 active state judges torture the language of the Constitution in order to protect their own pecuniary interest. It's wrong. It's protecting her own pocketbook and the pocketbook of her colleagues. Especially wrong because judges in New Jersey already enjoy the most lavish benefits of any public employees in the state. That's what this is about.
the main thing to know is that the Child Support Agency is not part of family court and is a separate agency that The main thing to know is that the Child Support Agency is not part of family court and is a separate agency that
The founders created a system of government where powers would be separated into different branches. No one person or institution could make, interpret, and carry out the law. There would be no absolute or undivided power. The accumulation of all powers, legislative, executive, and judiciary, in the same hands, may justly be pronounced the very definition of tyranny.
The main thing to know is that the Child Support Agency is not part of family court and is a separate agency that
New Jersey Supreme Court in the mid-1980s created the Child Support Hearing Officer Program to help judges hear child support cases.
Or the Supreme Court, which is neither force nor will, as Alexander Hamilton said, to carry out its own decisions.
A child support hearing officer is not a judge.
Good morning. My name is Teresa Andrews. I'm a child support hearing officer. I'm not a judge.
They are lawyers or qualified professionals the state Supreme Court has appointed to hear child support matters.
the main thing to know is that the Child Support Agency is not part of family court and is a separate agency that
I will be taking testimony. Based on testimony and whatever documents are presented, I will be making a recommendation.
Child support hearing officers make a finding of fact and a recommendation based upon the testimony and evidence. Child support hearing officers may also make recommendations to enforce an order for child support or medical coverage if that parent is not complying with the order. They forward that recommendation to the judge.
It is evident based upon the interview with the probation department that Mr. Ross feels that he has satisfied his responsibility, even though he alleges that payments were made on a regular basis, but they were not made through the Child Support Enforcement Agency.
the main thing to know is that the Child Support Agency is not part of family court and is a separate agency that
Mr. Ross is well aware that requires payments to be made through our child support enforcement agency.
The main thing to know is that the Child Support Agency is not part of family court and is a separate agency that
I feel, based upon the fact that Mr. Ross fails to take responsibility for his action, that the maximum sentence of 12 months be imposed, and if in fact he is to receive some type of community control, that he would be sentenced to serve sometime in the Lorraine County Correctional Facility.
Article 3 establishes the judicial branch, or federal court system. These courts will try all cases that arise under the Constitution. The judicial branch has no lawmaking or enforcement power.
So let me get this straight. You want me to violate his God-given civil rights in the name of some murky sense of the greater good. Is that the gist of it, gentlemen? Under what cause?
Child support. The individual obligor.
Okay. I'm game. Just don't plan on it sticking for long. All right?
the main thing to know is that the Child Support Agency is not part of family court and is a separate agency that
This system of separated powers is an important way the Constitution guards against tyranny in government.
The Child Support Hearing Officer program helps the court move cases through the system more quickly, which is in the child's best interest.
I mean, through PEROR, which is the Personal Work Opportunity and Reconciliation Act that was passed by the federal government, it provides the Child Support Agency with a gamut of tools that it can actually use to go forth and do collection activities.
The main thing to know is that the Child Support Agency is not part of family court and is a separate agency that
don't require us to go through the courts.
What happens in child support hearings?
You must first enable the government to control the governed.
The individual obligor.
The non-custodial parent.
an obligor, the non-custodial parent will be ordered to pay.
The individual obligor.
Non-custodial parent will need to pay.
The individual obligor.
Non-custodial parents, an obligor, a non-custodial parent will pay for
The individual obligor.
of the non-custodial parent's income.
The whole purpose of separation of powers is to frustrate government action, to make it harder for government to act. Well, why would we want to do that? Well, because government action endangers the rights of the people.
Hotep, I am the Amen Osiris, God of Law, and thanks for tuning in. And I'm going to be real brief, but we're going to discuss a little bit about the Separation of Powers Act, in which all states violate when they operate under child support, okay? Now, as we know, child support is not for the best interest of the children. It's about federal funding that goes to the state treasury, which pays the judicial salaries and pensions first, then the state employees' salaries and pensions second, okay? Everyone has a financial interest in the case, and they must be lawfully recused under Canons 3C, 3C. Okay, real brief. All right, what is child support? Child support means financial support paid by parents to help support a child or children of whom they do not have custody. Child support can be entered into voluntarily or ordered by a court. Okay, that's the state of New Jersey's definition of child support. Now, not only do I deal with New Jersey, I deal with all states. Doesn't matter. California, Maine to Maine, anywhere in the middle. All right, child support is federal law. It applies the same across the board. I don't care what corporation or what you call a state that you live in. Okay, now, under the constitutional Article 3, now this is the United States Constitution. All right, under Article 3, all right, the courts can only deal with constitutional issues. Okay, in all state constitutions, there's a Bill of Rights. All right, some have more than others. New Jersey has 23. So what that means is the only way that a court can legally come after you or lawfully or constitutionally come after you is if you violate one of those 23 given Bill of Rights that apply to another human being, including yourself. Remember, we are all by nature, the gods, equally free and independent. That means you have no rights, no more rights on this planet than I, and I have no more rights on this planet than you. All right, neither does a judge, neither does a cop. Okay. They just put titles in front of it. So The only way that someone can sue you is they have to have standing to sue. All right, and you can find that under Article 22 of the New Jersey State Constitution. And you know I like fucking with Jersey because they're criminals just like the rest of the 50 states. All right. For the purposes of this paragraph, victim of a crime means a person who has suffered a physical or psychological injury or has incurred a loss or damage or personal or real property as a result of a crime. That is the only way that you can be sued. Okay? That is the only way that the courts constitutionally can deal with you as a human being. All right? If it's not a violation of Article 3 under the New Jersey or whatever state constitution that you're in, all right, there is no violation. Okay? Now, this video is very important because it's letting you know, all right, and I wanted to point out, all right, exactly what's going on. Okay? The child support agency is not part of the court. It is a separate agency. The child support agency is designated under federal law, all right, under the executive branch of government. You have three branches: legislative, executive, and judicial. All right. The judicial branch of government only deals with constitutional issues. Someone please point to me, all right, and you may use this in any court hearing because I love just fucking with these people. Where does it state within any state or federal constitution that a baby's mother or what the state defines as a child has a right to collect child support from another human being? Where within the Bill of Rights of any state constitution or the federal constitution, which is merely a contract for the corporation, state that child support is a constitutional issue? It is not. If you read the child support laws in depth, all right, it'll tell you that a child has a right to a father's income. All right, that is not true. That is not a constitutional issue. All right, remember, child support falls under Title 42 of the United States Codes. That title is not enacted into positive law, and therefore, unless you contract into it, it does not apply to you. All right, and I'm being very redundant, but you also know that child support only applies to what? An obligor or non-custodial parent. Your Constitution, all right, clearly states that all men, human, flesh and blood human being created by the gods of the universe, all right, not by the state, are equally free and independent. Free means not subject to. Independent means not subject to. All right. So again, ask your question how you're getting duped into child support. Okay. Child support is not part of the judicial branch. Again, okay. There are no judges. There has not been a judge in the state of New Jersey or in this country since the 1700s. They are all executive administrators. Okay, I'm not posting this to make you guess. I'm posting it because it's real. And you notice I like to use live footage. All right, so you don't just hear it from me. All right, and of course, don't take my word for it or therefore. Research it. You'll find out that you're being duped. Okay, child support is no different than Walmart. Better yet, we'll use Sam's. All right, no membership card, no child support benefits. All right, the courts have nothing to do with child support. They have no business hearing child support hearings or sitting in them. One, we know that they have a financial interest. And two, that's the law. It's very simple. All you judge impersonators out there, all right, gentlemen, I'm telling you, you need to get your posse up. All right, a big posse. Make sure you're well armed. All right, get your bulletproof vest. And you need to go down there during the day and start storming these buildings and snatching these criminals out of there. All right, and then having your own public trials because they're violating the law. Okay, I'm the Amen Osiris, God of law. I can free you from child support, guaranteed. No ifs, ands, or buts. Give me a call or check me out at the website. But more importantly, stop being ignorant, stop being a bitch, stand up as a man, and assert your rights, and you win. Hotep.